Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. You are looking at the third of 3 watches that we've been reviewing from LEMFO. There's an unboxing video out on the LF16 right now. You could go take a look at it, get an idea of what comes in the box, and from here we are turning it on, and normally we just give you a first look. And a first look is like, well, what are the installed apps and how does it perform before you even do anything like hook it to the internet or set up your Google Play stuff. Well, the good news is, because it's taken me a while to review this watch, I've really spiffed it up with a whole bunch of stuff like that little dot over there. We're going to go through and show you some of the extras that you can add to the watch and really customize it for your own use. So in the unboxing, you saw we took a look at it. It's kind of a gunmetal shade of gray on this one. It's not solid black. It's not silver either. And it's got nice leather bands on it. And we're going to jump into it. It's a quad-core processor. It's got the full 8 gigabytes of RAM and half a gigabyte of ROM, or whatever they call these back and forth. ROM is the full 8 gigabytes. The good news about that is you have a lot of space to store stuff in. The challenging thing is this 512 megabytes on the left-hand side. The difference between the left and the right is all of your apps kind of live in the left-hand side in that smaller one, which means you're not going to be able to put a whole bunch of apps on this watch. But it's a watch. It's not a phone. But it would be better to have 1 full gig. But you got half a gig. And as you'll see, you can do quite a bit of stuff. It does have the 1.39-inch AMOLED, really nice screen with the 400 by 400 pixel and is running Android 5.1 operating system. And as we have seen, there's different flavors of the 5.1 OS. The one you're going to see here is comparable to what you find in the Kingwear KW88. And that watch is a hot seller. So let's jump right in and let's talk about watch faces. The OS 5.1 implementation goes kind of 2 different routes when it comes to watch faces. That is, adding watch faces and even displaying them. This follows the path of the KW88, as opposed to the LEM5 from LEMFO that followed the path of the company number 1 in Finow of installing extra watch faces. But here we are with the installed watch faces that come with this particular watch. Ignore that little dot. In fact, you know what? I'm going to press and hold it. Whoops, it went into that instead if I touch the dot, and I make it go away. More on that later. Now you can see the clean display of the watch faces, which is bright and beautiful. They have names to them up above. A lot of them are just little acronyms, it looks like. This has got kind of curvy hands with a dot going around. Good if you want to save battery and you're in a dark place and you want to glance at the time but not light up the whole room. Why does it save battery? Because an AMOLED screen, every pixel is lit up. And so the pixels that are black are not being lit up, so there's no electricity going there. The other kind, it's a backlight across the whole screen, and so the pixels polarize and turn dark to block out the light. You can tell when you look at the watch from the side when it's got that kind of a screen. But this has got that good low power screen. But we're running through the watch faces, so let's take a look. That would be your step count. I just turned it on for today to do this review, so you're not going to see steps and heart rates and all the other things on it. Check this colorful one out. Now, I'm seeing some banding here on the camera. That is not happening on the watch. Turns out there's a flicker effect. Sometimes the beat update rate of the camera and the watch kind of don't harmonize well, and it may look stripy. It's not at all. It's pure, clean colors. And they're really actually brighter here than they are in the camera. You have to see one of these in person to believe it. Here's another interesting watch face. A lot of the ones from LEMFO are different than what we've seen custom on many of the other watches, as you're about to see as we walk through these. Now, these all appear to be digital representations with a digital time and date on a picture. And that's okay. It gets the job done. You can use different fonts, all that kind of stuff. And there's a variety of them, showing you different aspects. But again, they're pretty much all digital, which is interesting because I'm going to point something out here in just a minute when we run through all of these digital watch faces. This watch, oh, isn't that pretty? Look at the river running down. This watch is not specifically restricted to digital watch faces. The reason we know that is because one of the stock watch faces that we're about to get to, wow, you like cars? Look at that one. It's really crisp, the display too. That 400 pixel dot thing going on makes everything really nice and sharp. But I'm saying you're not really just restricted to these digital faces. Well, yes, you are, and no, you're not. We are on the designer developer side. There's a whole team of people who are developing watch faces. That's really nice for these watches. And they're restricted to certain criteria. They can't make watch faces do all the fancy things you'd like them to do. Not yet anyway, because they actually haven't gotten into the code. Look at that, it went down in brightness. Now you're seeing a secret that I've got. I've got a little slider brightness control on the side of the screen that I can make this bright or dim. It kind of fades out every now and then. That's an add-on. That's not with the watch, but we'll see that. Anyway, there it is. They call it the DMN19, and that watch face is stock. Now, here's what's exciting about that. There's all these different hands on here. This is showing that it's on 1, which is Monday. This is the 7 days of the week. It's not coming from the center of the watch. It's offset. So that design capability is there. But the developers haven't cracked the code on how to do that. That's a work in progress. Over here, it says 12, 1, almost 2 o'clock. Well, it's quarter of 12. So this is actually a one-handed watch right there. This is, of course, the two-handed one. And this one right here is tracking the hour hand, or minute hand, it looks like. Anyway, all three are functional, as are the 3 hands there in an analog watch. It's the only analog watch you're going to find stock on here, okay? But the good news is, well, this is kind of analog as well, this one here. Sort of. The second hand is analog. Then it's digital underneath, where it's saying 0100. The next set you're going to see are developer-created watch faces for test purposes, originally made for the KW88 and are working fine on the LF16. And I just want to run through the parade of them. There's some off-the-wall ones that are like this, off-the-walrus ones, that are actually have been brought over from the LEMFO LEM5 world that these watch faces work really great on, and then set up to work properly over here. This is a cool watch face, and the date is wrong. And so these are samples. They've used kind of the backing of a photograph of a watch, and then they've made the hands work. And that's kind of what you're limited to with developers right now, are 3 hands and a background. So these we call test skins. They're not really out there. I'm not going to give you links to download these directly. See, now it says it's the 24th. These were play skins that were just, made to test it out. A lot of them are copyrighted, and they're not really appropriate to put out to the public. I'm showing them here as demos, so you could get a feel for what they look like on this kind of a watch. Once everything is set up, and if they can crack the code on how to really update the date properly and make all this stuff fit and look good, then you're going to have a whole bunch of watch faces available. In the meantime, we do have a video out on the KW88 watch faces and the ones that you can download and install, and you'll see some of them here. Those that you are eligible to download, there's links to them over there, and you just download them and load them up on your LF16 in the same way that you would on the KW88, and you'll see all of these watch faces. Now, this isn't about parading through all of the watch faces that I've got on here. It's just to show you the possibilities. Look, we're just in the C's already. They're alphabetical. I can go through, there was a pretty nice red one. Look at that one. I can go through these forever, but I won't, because they're not something you can download, and it's just going to whet your appetite. You're going to be begging me for links to these. They don't exist. I think the Mickey one is on the KW88 downloadable list. This one was authorized to be put on there, and there's a secondhand little Mickey running around. But just to get a feel for the infinite variety of all of these watch faces, look at these things. and they all run perfectly on the LF16. Let's go further then. We've done the watch faces. Which one do we want? If we go all the way to the end, the last one, there's no plus sign to add them from a server, so they have to be installed in the way that you'd install these watch faces. They actually run like a little application on the watch once you download them into the watch. All right, next, before we go further, I want to talk about the little charging thing on the back, because a lot of times you're going to need an extra one. And you saw in the unboxing what it came with, a little wire with the dots on the bottom. I've done some research for you, and I want to show you everything is not the same. These are different connectors from different watches. This is going to bore some of you, but for some of you, it's going to be exactly what you need to know. It was black that came with this one, okay? One of these black ones came with the LEMFO LEM4 watch, the big one that you saw the review on, and the other one came with this LF16. Now look, they look pretty much the same, but they're really different. The pins are closer together on one than they are on the other. The magnets are further apart, and they are not interchangeable. Oh, it's making my life miserable, because I used to just take these kind that are stock standard across all sorts of different watches, not the ones that use the charging docks, but the ones that actually use these cables. And if they have this kind of spacing and layout, you can use one on another without any trouble at all, from all the different companies. Some tethering watches, some Android watches, beautiful. But LEMFO's watches are special, they're unique. This layout here won't work. You see, the spacing is different. This layout here, close, but notice the pins don't line up at the same distance. So none of these cables will work on the LF16 or the LEM4 watch. And the other one, the LEM5, uses a dock. So you really might make sure, if you want to get extras, you get the one that matches your watch, because if you get the wrong one, and this wants to go across like that, and you plug it in to charge it, it won't charge. It looks like it'll fit, okay? But it doesn't. And so you really got to keep these things straight if you have more than one watch. That's the story on the wires. All right, let's get into the watch itself. Did we finish everything here? I pretty much have. There they all are, the information that comes on the website. Speaking of, let's take a moment to tell you that the LEMFO website you can go to, they've got a variety of things. You can go to the LEMFO website directly where they sell these, and they also have presence on, I believe, AliExpress perhaps, Amazon. I'm not sure. Check the show notes down below. The links will be there. Click the link, and that'll take you to the best place to buy and hopefully get you a good price. This is a really good price, and it was like around the 11/11 sale time. So hopefully you can get good discounted prices on the watch. When you take it, and you have like 3-4 different ways you can go. You can scroll down and look at the row of things up above. You can go left and right and look at the row of things here. And you can go scroll up and go down to look at what's here. So let's see what we've got. In this first row, if we scroll to the left, that's where your notifications show up. And that's typical on many watches. Some of them you have to scroll down to show it from up above. But on this one, you scroll left. When you go to the right, you get into your apps. And I purposely made this display, the round display, for you to see. It's not what I usually use. I'm going to switch it to the linear ones so we don't miss any of them. But they're in pages of round displayed apps. So if you learn your icons really well and you want to maximize your ability to get to things really quickly, you can use this layout for your apps. Okay, so we went from the time over to the right, and then we scroll down a whole list of pages. And if you continue to the right one more, you get to the music player. For installed music, this isn't Bluetooth kind of music from your phone or anything. It's if you put it on the SIM card in here. Or not the SIM card, but the memory partition. The 8 gigabytes you got in here. So that's it. Those 4 things. Okay, if you scroll up, you get to these panels. This tells you how much of a charge you've got. Real easy way to check your battery if it isn't showing on the watch face, and it's not on most of these, if not all of these. Just swipe down. There's your battery strength. And that blue line is actually a representation of it. 100%, it's solid blue, and it goes down. 50%, half of that, 25% down to 0. And you got your time, and it tells you if you have a SIM card in it to make it a phone, and whether or not you have Bluetooth turned on. It appears here. There's X's, so they're not turned on. Here's your information page where you can go into silent mode if you want, or you can have it full volume. You have this icon, which I'm pretty sure is to flip your wrist so you can see the time when it's off. And by the way it does that is not using the watch face you've selected. It shows you this little time right there. It minimizes your power usage, but shows you the time in a way you can use it. If you flip it and you get it on, and you touch it, you can go back into your main watch face, and it'll stay on for the duration of the timeout that you set in the settings for the display to turn it off automatically. Nice. That's that little thing. Airplane mode. This is your cellular data transfer on and off. And this is your location, your GPS. You have your brightness set here, and it's not working right now because I'm overriding it with that little slide brightness that I show you here on the side, this app that I've installed. It overrides that feature. But if you don't have that, you have those 3 selections of brightness: Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, on and off toggles. So that's that second page, right? Nothing to the left of this. This was when we went this way. There's your first page, second page. Third page is your information for your pedometer. And I haven't walked with it yet, but it'll track a whole day's worth of walking and running, whatever you're doing, your steps, and will accumulate that data for you. Okay? And any of those pages, you can come down and come right to here. And if I scroll down one more, you come to your weather page, and it shows you your weather condition, your temperature in centigrade, and you can go to another page that shows you your forecast for the future. So let's take a look at the stock apps first that come with this watch, and then we'll go into the specialty ones. As in most of these standalone watches, where you have a compartment to put a SIM card in so you can have your own phone number on the watch, when you go into contacts, those will be the contacts associated with that phone card. It also can pull in your Google contacts in your Google account if you log in under Google, and they can appear here as well. But primarily, these are the contacts associated with the SIM card in the watch, not the contacts in your phone. This is not tethering in the same way that you would kind of expect it would with a tethering watch. Phone, same way. You have a touchpad, and you can place a call. Now, if you're tethered to your phone, you will not be able to place a call. It's only going to place a call if you have the SIM card in the device here. Think of this device as a little phone, actually, rather than a watch. It's a tiny Android phone, and it works like an Android phone. You have your messages. This is your SMS messages generated to and from the SIM card in your watch, not the messaging coming in through notifications from your phone. I want to be clear on all of that. And notice it pops to the top one each time. And then we get into settings. Going to come back to that in a minute when we finish these. Remote capture. If you are tethered to your phone, you can press that button and take a picture on the watch of whatever the camera is pointing to on the phone. We have that in other videos. I just explain it to you. If you want to see it in action, you can watch those over there. Your browser is your basic web browser, and it has some little chiclets that are already installed here that can get you into some sample web pages set up for China, google.cn. But I would recommend a different web browser for this. Every time I slide, I'm changing the brightness. Maybe that's not a good position for it. In other watches, I haven't had to slide that way. You would slide this way. So it might be better to put that someplace else. But for right now, that's where it is. Your calendar is a very limited calendar. It just shows a picture. You're not able to go in and change any of the information in this calendar. Your clock is where you set your alarms, basic alarm functions. Yeah. Yeah. There we go, changing the brightness. Your gallery is for pictures that you take, and they will show up if you have any pictures in your gallery. And notice that you could select the camera up there. You saw that? And you try to do that, and it's not going to happen because this watch doesn't have a camera. It has a button, has speakers, but it doesn't have a camera. So you can see there's kind of a leftover from the old KW88 software on this watch with respect to the gallery wanting to connect you with the camera that doesn't exist. Music is your onboard music player, and you can scan your memory to see what music there is there, and you can play your songs just like you can by swiping 3 tabs over from the original clock face. Remote control is not connected to your device, so you're not able to play the music that's on your phone, but you can. See, there's limited tethering capability. You have the music for the music on your watch, and you have this player for the music that's on your phone. Then you have a sound recorder, which is where we can kind of test the microphone. And let's try it. This is a recording test of the LEMFO LF16 smartwatch to see how it sounds. We hit done, we save it, and we get the recording list, and there it is. This is a recording test of the LEMFO LF16 smartwatch to see how it sounds. Now, if any of you have been watching these other reviews, this is the point where you hear me go, yada, 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 the speaker's in the wrong place, and it's not very loud, and but I'm not on this one. I'm telling you, the speaker design with the speaker holes right below the lip of the edge of the watch means that when you have this watch on your arm, look at where the speaker holes are, and the sound is coming out right at you. They're not on the bottom of the watch pressed against your skin. I mean, why would you want a speaker to talk into your skin unless you're trying to get bone connectivity or something? This speaker is here, and because of that, it's rich, it's loud, and it's great. This is a recording test of the LEMFO LF16 smartwatch to see how it sounds. This is the second best watch I've ever heard in terms of purity and volume, and that says something out of I don't know how many I've reviewed. The only other one was a Banus BS2, or B2, which is a tethering watch. It doesn't do Android apps. Nice watch for tethering. In fact, a good complement to this one. It's waterproof and tethering and dual mode, and this one's full Android and all sorts of good stuff. Both of them are really nice watches. And this one, there's nothing else on the market like it. I think that's why everybody's been excited for this review. Look at the design on this, how sweet it is. One button on the side that's kind of, you don't even notice it's a button. This is sweet. I'm digressing. File Manager is where you go in and you can see how much memory you've got. You know, the operating system is going to take up some of it, right? But when you see that you've got 4+ gigabytes left over, and I've actually used a lot of it for installing specialized apps, you got quite a bit of space. On the watches that have usually the RAM of 512 megabytes and ROM of 4 gigabytes, by the time you use up your operating system takes up at least 2 of those, and you're down to 1.9 or something gigabytes of space, well, you can see you got quite a bit more. So you got the full 8 gigabytes available to you on the watch. That's stripped down after all of the things that are needed to make the watch run, leave you with around 4.5 to 5 gigabytes. When you tap it, you can go in, and you can see the things that are there, and I've set up app backup and restore, so I can restore all the apps that I have installed on here. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. And you have easy voice recorders, another thing, Django's, all these different folders have been made by other apps that I've put in here. And it's sweet. It really is a lot of nice space in here that you can work with. Okay, that's File Manager. Find Me is when you're tethered to your phone, you can hit the start button, and if your device is out of range and you're no longer on Bluetooth, it should beep for you when you disconnect that distance anyway. But if it is in Bluetooth, doing this and hitting start will make both devices start to beep. You've seen that in other videos, and that's how you find your phone. The health section. We have the heart rate monitor and the pedometer. You've seen this kind of layout before. Again, it's very similar to what's on the KW88. And apologize for that flickering. That is not on the watch. That's just an interplay happening. The frequencies somehow are not in harmony with each other. There's the heart rate sensor. So when we tap it, we have one light, not two. So it's not that fancy upgraded version, but it's got the new graphic of the heart rate checker. And you should be able to do it on your finger, on your nose, on your forehead, if you can smash the phone there, or on your wrist. Any place that the little laser diode can see your blood oozing through your capillaries, you can get a reading. That seems to be high, but I'm wired and talking right now. Okay, I just cut out some segments here, about 2 minutes worth, for two reasons. One, see if I could calm myself down a little bit, get down to some sort of a reasonable level. And two, to find out if this ever stops doing its readings. And it doesn't. It's a continuous monitor. Now, I'm sure that's going to be eating battery power. But hey, if you're out jogging and you really want to keep an eye on your pulse rate, let's say you're trying to hit or stay in a zone or above or below certain thresholds, then it's nice to know that your heart rate monitor will continue to run as long as you have it on. Interesting. Calm. Try to keep it down. All right, your pedometer goes back into the screen that we've seen on the swipies, but now you have the setup. You can go in and do intervals. Oh, I thought you could set up your parameters. Maybe not. Okay, you can start it and start your jog or your walk or whatever, and it will start tracking the steps and time and your kilometers based on that information in the time zone that you set. Otherwise, it's doing it 24/7 all the time. All right, let's get back out of there. That was that. Weather takes us to that whole weather page you saw. Voice search is your Google voice search, which you don't have to log into Google. Let's see if it works. Oh no, okay. On this one, you do have to log into Google. The newer watches or different watches, different versions of the OS, you don't even have to log into Google. And I'm not signed up on Google on this watch at this time, so this is a good test of it to see. And it seems to be kind of washed out. So isn't that cool how I can bring the brightness down, change the contrast with that little slider? I love that app. That's one of my favorites. I have it on everything. Okay, that's voice search, your Google Play Store, which, you go into and you'd log in and you'd be accessing all of your Google apps. So how, you wonder, do I get all those apps on the watch without logging into Google? Well, I've logged into the Google before, and I've saved them on the hard drive on my computer, and I just simply transferred them over and installed them, what they call side loading, directly, and that works great. Okay, and then Maps. Maps is the last one that comes with it, and of course that's your mapping program. You not only have to have yourself set up with a SIM card probably, but and a Google account, definitely, but you also, of course, have to have location services on, your GPS running, and all the ability to bring in the maps as well. You can probably be out and about, and maybe the GPS can get a fix for you, but you wouldn't see anything on a map unless you have data coming in to put that map on the screen, because they're not maintaining offline maps, as far as I know on this. Okay, those are the core apps that come with the watch. What you're about to see now are the apps that I've added. Got your pencil and paper? If I get a chance, I'll put the links to these in the show notes down below, so you can just go right to the Play Store and download them. Let's run through them pretty quickly. The Display Brightness app is the one that has been putting that little line on the side that lets me brighten and dim the screen. And since I'm having trouble with it over there on the left center, I'm going to change it over to the right center and have it on this side instead. You can have it zoom all the way up to 100%, really bright, but if you're trying to conserve battery, you can set it so that it'll never go over, say, 85%. And you can set the low range really low, and then you probably wouldn't even see it, and that could get you in trouble. So all those configurations are there. You touch that button, and it'll enable the app, and You can set some check marks so that each time you reboot it, reboot your watch, it'll load it up automatically. And you've got dynamic brightness capability. Screen off, it's actually called screen on and off, I think, is a buttonology thing that I've put in for ease of shutting the screen off without having to touch the button. Now, true, it's really weird to have to go all the way over and scroll all the way down just to touch that to turn the screen off. It's not its primary function. I've built it into that little dot that you've seen on the side and other places so that you can turn the screen off automatically. Settings Search is the app you definitely want to install. This augments your access to your system's apps or all your system's functions, and especially your applications. So you can get into any of your apps and you can do all sorts of things in addition to just deleting them. Now you have all that stuff where you can force stop them or clear the data or even launch them from within that app itself. Okay, Settings Search. Definitely you want to install Settings Search. And it's a good idea to put in Gesture Search too. It's a Google app. You can accept it. See, I've put these in, but I haven't really done anything. You can have it analyze all of your contacts, your apps, your settings, stuff like that. And then once it's done all of that, you then can put in things like A, C, C, and get access to the accessibility menu, like this one, where you can do all these things. And one of my favorites is magnification gestures, where you can turn that on. And now when you triple tap, he says, it'll zoom in so you can read the small writing on the screen. And if you want to get more flexible, you triple tap and hold on the third one, and now you can actually move it around on your watch. Hello, isn't that nice? Can't get to it unless you have that Google Gesture app installed. Whee! Okay, Gesture Search. App Backup and Restore is an interesting app. Once you've got a bunch of things installed on your watch, you can go in here, you can click in the lower right-hand corner, there's a little square. Oh, we can't see it, right? We don't need to deal with this. We could make this whole thing a square where you can see that corner. Otherwise, I got to kind of mess with it like this and put check marks there. I can do it. Well, all right, I'll get back and I'll show you that later. Since we managed to get them all checked, and you say backup, if they've already been backed up, well, except for one or two of them, it'll just go brrr, and it's done, which I've already done. But now it backed up all of the apps that I have installed on the watch, the ones I installed myself, including all these different watch face files. You see all of those names there? Have all been backed up into a folder on the big 8 gigabyte partition of the memory that I can restore from any time by coming over here. And if I deleted some watch faces, let's say, and then I wanted to put them back in, like, say, that one right there, I could hit restore, and it would restore it right back to the watch. And then it would show up as a watch face. Really good app to have, backup and restore. And we'll show you that little square thing when we get into the settings. This is a little one I put in called App Cache Cleaner. And it just basically, because you have such limited memory on here, I like to have it periodically clean the cache. So every hour it will go through and clean up any residual cache files associated with any of these apps that you might have been in. I say clear all, it'll clear them, it'll close the app, and, well, it's supposed to take me back out of here. It brought up something called a bootstrap. Oh, I don't want to mess with that. Don't know what that is. Let's try it again. Clear all. Okay, it freed 2.2 megabytes worth of stuff. That's not much, but I mean, every little bit counts on a watch. Apis browser is my preferred browser of choice because you can have all these little thumbnail things that you can go into, like YouTube, and now you're in YouTube in a browser. You don't have to install the app, which takes up valuable room on your limited 512 megabytes worth of space, and you don't want to run out of space on this watch, that's for sure. And does it play well? Yeah, it plays well when you're on Wi-Fi. When you're on 3G, I don't know. Whoops, I guess something was going to play.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Barney.
Goodbye. Okay, we're doing YouTube in a browser. Yes, I know I should have bookmarked my page and promoted myself, but yeah. Anyway, I prefer to use a really good browser like Apis browser. There's a turbo version. I don't recommend it because of interplay issues with the watch format, but the regular one is really good. You can put things, Facebook and Twitter and all the other things that you otherwise would need apps in the browser and just thumbnail click them and get right into your sources and save that memory. Breathing zone, you've seen that in the Apple ads. This is that thing that lets you breathe in and breathe out. Breathe out. Breathe in. Listen how loud the audio is. Breathe out. You think a guy like me needs this? Breathe in. Well, you bet I do. Oh, goodness. Okay. Quit. A lot of these you're not going to need, but I'm just showing you how I loaded my watch up to give you some ideas. I love Chrono Surf Pro. It is the ultimate, boom, watch face. Check this out. Look at that. That is slick. Now, if you want to run around with a watch face, it's going to be, set your timeout really long. It's running like an app, but it's really a clock face, and it's taking up the whole thing. And it actually shows you the day of the week and the date. It's Wednesday the 21st right there. And it's got a calendar, 100-year calendar. You can put in a date, and it'll tell you what day of the week it was and all that stuff. And you can press over here, and you can change it to a stopwatch, and you can activate it, I think, somehow on the side. Somewhere. There you go. And now you got a stopwatch running. And you can change it over here, and you can go to a countdown timer. And same thing, it'll count backwards when you start it somewhere. There you go. Oh, it's wanting me to set it. You see it wiggle the hands? All this stuff. You got alarms. You got world time. You got regular time. Check it out for any of your watches, even for your phone. It's really cool. Chronosoft, okay? Chronosoft? I always have to look at the app. Come back here. There we go. Chronosurf Pro. Chronosurf. Okay. Easy voice recorder is what I prefer as a voice recorder because it's really cool in that you can adjust the gain control through a menu item that you can't see on the screen. Maybe we'll use this as an example to show you how you can get to it when you change that to a square. Anyway, you can adjust the gain so you can be really soft, and it'll record it beautifully. Sometimes the recorder inside these things is a little weak, so this is my preferred one that I put on most of my watches. Easy Voice Recorder Pro. File Manager is an alternative to the file manager we just showed you. It works pretty much the same way. There's a lot of things in there that say File Manager, but it's the one that has the red folder, because not only do you have access to all of the stuff that you've got in your folders, but you can bring over a thing and you can add cloud storage like your Google Drive, Dropbox, even Facebook now. And you can store stuff from your watch up to those things like all of your apps or other apps you might want to install or watch faces or you name it, pictures, video, audio, and download them when you're connected to the internet directly through this file manager and onto your watch. Log in with Facebook, as simple as that. Okay? That's a file manager that's got the red folder when you go in the Google Play Store. Django is the same as Spotify, is the same as Apple Music or any of the others. I just happen to like that when there's fewer ads. Message Ease is a different kind of a keyboard than what you saw as the keyboard that's on the watch. And when we get into language and text and stuff, you'll see where those keyboards can be installed. Screen filter is a quick way of just dimming your screen a little bit. And you can set the amount of dim you want. If you want it really intense dim, you can do that. So if you're going to go indoors and you've been out in the sun, you can tap that and save battery. Everything else will run at that level. Just remember to touch it to bring it back. There's the settings for that screen off button we saw. Speech to Clipboard Pro is an app that I got a review on this thing. It's nice. It brings up the Google Voice and you can tell it to launch a particular app by voice or to paste stuff into an app. Whatever you say after you say the word paste will be held so that you can open an app and paste it into it. All sorts of fun things there. Stitcher, another audio streaming source that you can put in different news sources and listen to the news. Super mute is great. Super mute immediately mutes all of your volumes, all of them, your alarms, everything, and undoes it just by tapping. Another really cool thing to put in here. Oh no, now my button's in the way. I got to move my button someplace else. Let's put it over there. When I put that here, oops, it took the all volumes muted. I'm not actually hitting the button. There you go. I can make a page. You know, when you buy the Pro version, you get 2 extra pages on either side, which I have on all of my other devices. I just need to activate it. But I could go in here like where that little flashlight icon is, and I don't need it. For example, I could put that super mute right there, and I just tap it, tap the button, tap that, and I've muted my phone. Don't have to worry about it anymore. But I'm moving too fast for both of us. Yeah, here's how it is when it floats on top of the thing. I hit the home button, and I'm right there to my watch face. So depending on what watch face you have on there, that button might work really well, or it might be hard to see. Oh, did you see the Paris one? Look at that. This is a user-created watch face that's been installed on this LF16 using the same procedures you'll find in a video about this related to the KW88 watch. They work the same way. But I wanted to go to that watch face that was just black. Where did it go? There, that's a nice simple one. Yeah. Okay, now when you launch it, it's pretty easy to see the things here. And we'll get to this in a minute. In a minute, we're not done yet. Oh yeah, we're here at super mute. Talking clock is a fun thing. You know, you can flip your wrist and see the time, but if you activate talking clock and you set this thing up, let's see if it'll work.
The time is now 3:07 p.m.
Okay, kind of, you know, you can install different voices as well if you have enough space on the thing. And what it does is if you tap it 3 times or 4, I like to do it 4 because then the screen goes black again. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should.
The time is now 3:07 p.m.
It'll speak the time to you. Great when I'm driving the car. I don't even want to look at my watch. I just reach over with one nice button on the side, easy to get to. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The time is now 3:07 p.m.
And if you do it 3 times, you know, you do certain, depending on how you hit it, it'll either light the screen up or it'll go right back to black, whichever you want. Talking clock. Visualizer 5000, just to impress people, can give you some fun visuals that go flying across the screen and drive you nuts. Eye candy. You know, you got to have fun with your watch, right? It's not all about following the news. It's not all about just telling the time and realizing you're late to a movie. It can be all about zenning in different ways. And showing off how incredible the screen is on these watches. Wow. Wow. You can make this music sensitive so it'll beat to the music, or microphone sensitive so it'll pop as you speak, which for me would be nuts. I'd be talking to myself all the time. And then, finally, drum roll please, the floating toucher. When you launch it, you see that you have all these different options, like I said, including other pages. If I go here to the left, you can have these different pages and you can add things to them if you've got the Pro version, and I'd highly recommend upgrading to that. The flashlight we saw doesn't work, right? Because there's no flashlight. So I can press and get rid of it, and then I can hit the plus key. I can go over to apps, and what was the one? It was that thing for turning off all the sound, the muting thing, right? Like super mute or something. There we go, super mute. Super mute. Okay, now when I leave this, I can be anywhere, but let's be on our watch face. I tap my button. Hello, come on, button. It's an art hitting it directly. There's super mute. So I tap it, and all volumes are muted. And that's my list of fun little apps that I've put on here that pretty much took up all the space I have. You can add different ones, modify them as you need. And of course, the stock apps are on there as well. Did I show you this already, the tilt and light up? I think we did. Yeah, it's not your normal watch face, but if you tilt it and light it and touch it, it'll fade right into your defined watch face. to which they can then go over to your apps or wherever, which lets us cover the last thing, the settings. The settings, oh, wow. Yeah, they're your Android 5.1 settings. In the sound, you have your media volume, alarm volume, and ringtone volume. You can set your watch ringtones. Oh, you can select media storage. Always is where they're going to be located. And you have a huge number of different ringtones that you can pick from. Okay? Those we've covered in other videos. I'm not going to bore you with those. Same thing with the default notifications. We've got a huge number, and none you can select. If you don't ever want it to make noise with notifications, you can select none, or any of them that you're interested in. Okay? And, of course, you can have it vibrate when you have incoming calls. To the SIM card, not for the messages, not when your phone rings. To your watch, but from when your watch rings from your watch. Okay, that's the sound settings. In display, we have the wallpaper that you can personalize, which are these background pictures. Oh, I think I just set it. How did I get out of that? Well, we'll set it. Let's go into that again. Okay, we have some different ones here. You can pick a picture from the gallery, or you can have the Earth, or you can have, I guess, different app icons, something. I'm going to use the Earth. Let's set the wallpaper as the Earth. And that shows up every now and then. It's not what's the background for your apps when you're scrolling, but it's there. Then you got your brightness level, which is a slider control for your brightness level. And notice it has no effect whatsoever because I've overridden it with this one here. That's the app display brightness that gives us that brightness. Again, I'm seeing lines on the TV. I'm so sorry about that. The watch does not look that way. It looks perfectly clear. It's some sort of a harmonic happening between the frame rate of the camera and the scan rate of the display. But interesting that it does that. And you got your sleep time from as low as 15 seconds to all the way up to 30 minutes. And then your font size is normal, and you can change that. The app listing style is where you saw me go from that first display of round apps around a clock to the linear ones that you're seeing now. That's where you change that. Okay, it's just two options that you have, and we chose list this time. Then you have your connection for Wi-Fi. You can make this a Wi-Fi hotspot if you have a SIM card in it that does data and you want to run your battery down real quick. But if you need to tether your tablet to your watch and leave your phone behind, you can do that. Airplane mode, GPS, you can restrict background apps. What happened there? I went to the other one. You can restrict your background apps to save battery so that they will turn off in the background. But if they're things like your email or Facebook or stuff that you need notifications from, you might not want to leave that turned on. Up to you. The mobile assistant, that's the barcode that you scan to set up the app that you put in your phone that you tether together with. There's the gesture, the screen on raising, and you can turn on or off your pedometer. Aha! It's off. That's why you haven't been seeing any steps accumulating when I've been moving this thing around. I'm saving battery by not using the pedometer on it. That's new. You usually don't see that on a watch, and I'm really glad they've done that, because unless you're really into actually accumulating steps and using your really limited watch for fitness, where you can't actually export the steps or the heart rate information to other apps, it's a waste. It's a waste of battery power. So nice that it's you can turn that off. That was in gesture, I guess. Yeah, and power savings shows you your bar graph, and what's being used the most is always the screen, followed by watch idle in this case. So the more dim you can keep your screen, the better off you are, which is why in display brightness, instead of going up to 100%, folks, if you set that, say, at 75% or something, that's plenty bright most of the time. And the other thing is using that screen filter app. That's a nice way to reduce the screen brightness as well. Now we get to the language and inputs. We're in English. These are all your other languages that are supported by this watch. And I think it's the same list you see in most of them. Okay. We'll stick with English. And the current keyboard is the Watch IME. And I had the Message Ease keyboard that I installed, remember? All I need to do is touch that, and it changes to the Message Ease keyboard. I'm not going to show you that today. All right, I'll show it to you. Let's go into something where I can make the keyboard come up. Like maybe I can add a new contact. And there, now I got Message Ease keyboard. I can slide on this to make it bigger. Whoops, I think I just put it away. There. Okay, and you can see the letters are here, and then there's diagonal letters. So if I wanted a Y, I slide from the T inward. If I wanted a W, I go from E upward. If I want to see what I'm doing, I can make this thing smaller. You have all sorts of capability with this, including a microphone here. You can slide that way and speak your input. So Message Ease is a third-party keyboard that I've got that I put on here sometimes. All right, that's enough. We are in the middle of doing the settings. These can just run on and on forever if I don't cut myself off at some point. Language and keyboard input methods. You have Google Voice typing available as well, and then these, of course, are the two different keyboards, and you have settings that you can invoke, like turning the sound off every time you touch it, or vibrate you can have turned on. You have predicting. All that stuff is on the stock keyboard that comes with it. And I'm going to switch it back to that stock keyboard right there. And voice input and text-to-speech output is where you can install different voices or actually change the settings of the voice and install different voice data. You've done this on your phone, haven't you? And then you can listen to it.
This is an example of speech synthesis in English.
Yeah, loudspeaker on this. I really like that. Date and time is where you set your automatic date and time using your network or GPS and time zone and all that kind of stuff. Resetting your equipment. You can back up your data if you've got your Google thing turned on. And of course, you can go back and do a factory data reset and reset the watch. Now, a warning, not necessarily, that's blooming there we go. There, now it's easier to read. You're not necessarily wiping out your whole watch. It really doesn't erase the stuff that's in the right-hand partition. So if you're going to sell your watch and you think that doing this is going to clear it out, make sure you've deleted the stuff first in your storage by going into that file manager and deleting all of the data you want to make sure is off of your watch, okay? Uninstalling applications is very limited. It just shows you the apps that you have installed, and you can choose to uninstall them if you don't want a particular watch face. You can just simply uninstall it. Oh, now this is a little better. Usually it says uninstall or not, but you're actually getting all of the capabilities to mess around with the app itself. That's nice. Used to only get that with setting search. But in this version, on this particular watch, it looks like the implementation lets you get a deeper, richer experience on what they call uninstalling the applications, but I would call it just going into the apps, and you can do memory management and everything on them. Nice. Okay. Didn't realize that. And then about the watch. This is where you could check for updates if you're on the internet, and you can see what the configuration is. Our model is an LF16. It's from LEMFO 5.1 Android. There's your security, your baseband, your kernel version, Thursday, November the 3rd, 2016. And the build number on this. And if we want to see if there's been an update to the firmware, it's as simple as going in and doing that. Make sure you're connected to the internet. Can you see that? Okay. And it's testing to find out if there's anything to do. You want to do that periodically because they oftentimes do wireless updates for us. And that's a good thing because they fix bugs and give us some additional features. And that is all about settings. So we have looked at everything in this watch, and well, I missed something? What did I missed that little square thing that everybody's been waiting for, to put the apps in a little square. Let's bring that brightness back up. Oh, that's easy to find. The one button thing we haven't done is press and hold the side button to show you that you can power off, you can reboot, you can automatically go into power savings mode. Gosh, it's still bright. There we go. Or you can clear the recent tasks. When you bring this up, there's that background image. That's where it's showing up. You can slide all the things that you have open away and just clean everything out. You should do that regularly to kind of clean out all your stuff, all your apps that are running there. We got to that by pressing and holding and hitting there, and that's a good way to see your wallpaper, right? The one thing left, the one button I haven't touched, the one icon remaining is here. It says full. Now if I press it, I get a square and it says small. Now in that small, I want to show you this. We're going to go, oh, you notice that the button jumped over, away from the edge, over to here. And we were messing around with one of these apps down here that we wanted to play with. I think it was the Easy Voice Recorder. Now, look at this. I've got a button up here that I can touch and brighten this up a little bit. It's a dance between me being able to see it and you being able to see it. Oh, it moved in too, probably. Yeah, it did. See, it's on that square. Okay, press that. And I go into settings, and I can adjust all these things, the sound quality, the tuning, the files, the interface, and you can actually get in here and make the gain, set the gain so that it'll boost it for you. And when you boost the gain, then when you go into a recording, it can be much, much brighter. Oh, you don't want to go through all of that stuff? All right, you hit the magic wand right there, and you can bring the gain up right here with this button that you can adjust the gain. See the number over on the side? There's 10 dB of additional gain. So that when you go into a recording, how do I get out of this? I guess I just put it away. All right. Okay, now I'm recording. And you can see the little blue line dancing? And I'm pretty much whispering. And it should be recording it just fine. Stop it. Go to my listen. Play it. Okay, now I'm recording, and you can see the little blue line dancing, and I'm pretty much whispering, and it should be recording it just fine. Nice, huh? That's a really good recorder. So, Easy Voice Recorder Pro we just did. If I change that back to the full, now when I go into it, I can't get to any of those buttons, but I have full capability to do the recording. So if you don't think you're going to need to change the gain, leave it this way. But if you need to get to it, simple as press hold, change, come out of it, and you're in the square. And that is a wrap. So by way of review, this is the LEMFO LF16 smartwatch. It's running a quad-core 1.3 gigahertz processor with only half a gigabyte of memory for using your apps. That's a little low. And full 8 gigabytes of space to store your music and stuff. That's one little pitfall. You have to be conservative in using the memory that it's got on board. But other than that, it's got all sorts of capabilities to it. You got all those pages up there, and you got your notifications that will stream in from your phone when you have it tethered there, but don't expect a lot. You're not going to be responding to them. If you want to do Facebook and all that stuff, you're going to have to either do it through the browser, which is what I would recommend, or install the app if you think you have enough memory and you don't want to put any of the other fun stuff in there. And then your music player. And when you scroll down, you get the weather. Well, not from there, but from here. All right, that's a review. Once again, here's the specs. And it is available directly from LEMFO, who's supplied the watch to us. There'll be links in the show notes on how to get yours. And, of course, I'm going to try to put links to those apps. And this has pretty much the operating system configuration of the KW88. We have a review on the KW88 up there. And, yes, I will do a comparison side by side of the LF16 and the KW88. I might make that available for subscribers only. We'll see. So if you haven't subscribed, I'd suggest you might want to try to do that so that you don't miss out on anything. Alrighty, you've been watching Smartwatch Ticks. Thank you so much for being here with us.